Isn't it a good time to be a United fan? I'm enjoying it. I think you are too. And the progress under Erik ten Hag, look, you can see what's going on at City. Deserved. I've been waiting for this. You've been waiting for it for a long time. You can see what's going on at Liverpool. Yeah, era has come to an end, Erik ten Hag said. And he was not lying. But let's focus on Man United. Let's focus on what we're doing right. And I tell you what, on the pitch, so much is going right. And that second goal that we scored against Crystal Palace, for me, is a blueprint of what Erik ten Hag wants to do with this football team and where he's taking us towards. Let me run through this video for you. Give me 10 minutes of your time. Trust me, you're going to enjoy it because we've seen so much progress and there is so much more to come. We are not the finished article yet, but wow, the progress this season has been fantastic. I want to take you back to the game against Spurs and that 2-0 win at Old Trafford because for me, that also carried a massive part of the blueprint of this Erik ten Hag team that he wants going forward. This team that presses, this team that wins the ball high up the pitch. Because if you look at Manchester United's counter-pressing stats, these stats were correct on the 11th of January. They may have changed somewhat. Counter press is when you win the ball back in the opposition's final third, within, I believe, 8 seconds of losing it. Manchester United at that point, nobody was doing it better than us in the league. And that game against Spurs, that 2-0 win, was the absolute blueprint of that. That's what Ten Hag wants his team to do. When we're working at 100% capacity, the team's fully developed, the squad's there, the players are there, everything's working perfectly in unison. We can't get there every single game just yet. But the Spurs game showed us the blueprint for it. And that game against Crystal Palace, now I'll tell you what, that Casemiro red card, it's something that's going to hurt United in the next 3 games. But what it showed is this team, as Ten Hag described here, this team's ready to stand up for each other. They're not going to accept when players can get badly injured. They're fighting for each other. And that's something that, again, another facet of this team that's developing. But I'm going to focus now specifically on the football itself. And that goal that Manchester United scored against Crystal Palace was one of the best team goals that we've seen from United in a long, long time. And Ten Hag, specifically, praised it in his comments after the game. This is what Ten Hag said about the goal.
It was a brilliant goal and finally he's on the end. But it was a great team goal by switching plays between the lines, great combinations, and then finally he finished off. A brilliant pass from Luke Shaw as well, the cross, and then of course the finish. Very good, and I think it was something, it was difficult for the opponent when we bring in that sub. It's a different dynamic. All of a sudden, they are focused on a player who's playing all the time in the ball, and then the player goes in the back of them. And that was great to see that the team really picks up good dynamic and the change and take benefit of it.
And Garnacho, he's talking about Garnacho there. And what I want to do now is run through this goal and speak about it with you because it really was a goal that I think deserves individual conversation. A goal which I really think gives you that blueprint of what Erik ten Hag is working towards. It started out, I'm not going to play the full video here because I'm going to get slapped down for copyright. But it started out there, the throw from, what is that, Wan-Bissaka down into Fred, back to Martinez here, who brings the ball up the pitch. And you can see how patient it is. Shaw's involved. Goes wide to Garnacho. Garnacho with a little 1-2 with Casemiro. Garnacho again, a little 1-2 with Fred. Then it goes across to Wan-Bissaka. Then it's Anthony. Then it's Bruno Fernandes. Then it's back to Wan-Bissaka. Then it's to, what, Casemiro. Then it's to Garnacho. Across to Shaw over here. Shaw across to Rashford. It was a wonderful goal. And look at this for a stat, right? How fantastic is this stat? That goal there against Crystal Palace involved 14 passes and had 9 players involved in it in the space of just 32 seconds. And there's a really cracking video here. I should be all right with this one for copyright. My fingers crossed it will be. You can see it in its full flow, in its motion. It's Garnacho there receiving the ball out wide. Shaw in on the underlap. Then it goes back to Fred, back to Garnacho. That's Wan-Bissaka out wide again, underlapping. Anthony, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro. Garnacho there, back out wide to Luke Shaw. Marcus Rashford, instinctive, right position, right time, bang. Goal. 9 players included. It really is right there. It's Ten Hag ball. That is what Ten Hag is building towards. That right there is the total football that that he wants to bring to Manchester United. And just the mere fact that we are doing that, and that was such a confident goal. Players knew what they were doing. Specifically, it was Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, I believe, with their underlaps, creating those overlaps, allowing players like Garnacho and Anthony to stay wide. Because if you remember, a good old long time ago, I did a video on Erik ten Hag, on his philosophy, and how important for him that is. The players out wide being able to hold their width with the underlapping fullbacks. Listen to this. This is what he said about that.
Daardoor de dreiging hebben en noem het de stress brengen bij de tegenstander.
Stress brengen?
Stress brengen. Waardoor ze zullen toch op, ik denk dat het, wie is het daarbovenin? Is het David of is het Dusan? Ik denk Dusan.
Aan de andere kant?
Ja, aan de andere kant. Die daar staat bij de tweede paal.
Die trekt de andere kant op?
Nou, die trekt daar de aandacht.
Oh, geez, I needed a better camera at that point. Wow, what a terrible face. Erik ten Hag there, speaking about a goal that Ajax previously scored and how he likes the fact that Dusan Tadic there, I believe it was, staying wide, dragging defences out, making sure that defenders had to go, oh, what's that player doing behind me? And that's what that movement does. As I said, to reiterate and go back over that goal there, it's what the movement does. Everybody, Garnacho holding his width then. By the way, Garnacho's involvement in that goal. He started from there. We can, well, I won't watch it again. We started from there, goes across, follows the ball in, and all of a sudden he's in the middle to receive the ball from Casemiro, gives it back out to Luke Shaw. It's brilliant from the 8. It's absolutely no wonder why Erik ten Hag absolutely loves what Garnacho is doing and how and why he's having such a fantastic breakthrough season. But I think we've been waiting for it. And the thing is, right, we're still, I would kind of argue, 50% of the way there. I think we're further ahead at this point than anybody, even in the wildest dreams, kind of could have imagined. Nobody could have been expecting. Like, for example, that game when it happened against Spurs, I didn't know this team had that in them. That was much earlier this season. Everybody, Fred in particular, in both of these games, really. But Fred in particular in that game against Spurs, just being the pressing monster from the front. United winning the ball constantly back, and Spurs could not get out of their half. But in terms of that total football, that one-touch movement, the brilliant patient build-up from the back, and as that stat showed there, involving so many of United's players, this really is the blueprint for this United team going forward. And the brilliant thing about United right now, look, who knows when this would happen, right? Who knows when this will happen again? But Erik ten Hag, at the very least, has got United fans dreaming. And that, honestly, that quote that he said about era's coming to an end, is prophetic. Every single week that goes past, something else happens. And we're not talking about City losing against Spurs at the weekend or Liverpool losing against Spurs against Wolves at the weekend. But City now, the FFP thing, everything is just... Our rivals are fucking wobbling. At the time where United finally are building a house that's not built on sand. And Erik ten Hag is the architect. And if the blueprint for how we should be pressing as a team was that 2-0 win against Spurs, and I think it always will be, that really is the example in the game where Erik ten Hag can constantly look back on and go, that's how you do it, guys. Right there. You've done it before. That's how you do it. I think this goal that we scored against Crystal Palace, I think for me now, that's going to be an example that Erik ten Hag can constantly refer back to. Say, look, this is what we're working towards. You can do it. The training is working. Everybody they know what to do. And just what ten Hag is doing, what ten Hag has done, where he is taking us, we're starting to see the achievements of it. Now, achievements are nothing without titles and trophies. That's the next step down the line. That's why we're only 50% of the way there. And I tell you what, the football itself is so much more exciting. The team is better, and just constantly, every week, I can say with a big smile on my face, things are starting to look correct on the pitch. It's all down to that man's hard work as a coach. But I tell you what, if that's going to be the total football that we're going to get treated to over the next few years, I cannot wait to see more of it. I really, really can't. What a goal that was against Palace. And as I said, I think a goal which deserved an individual video like this to highlight why that was such an important goal in terms of Ten Hag's philosophy that he's had before he came to the club and that he's trying to breed into the club. It's working.